man? Is that the Reefer man?
That's the Reefer, man.
Marijuana.
I believe he's losing his mind.
I think he's lost his mind.
Reefer Madness Radio. What is up, everybody? How is it going? Awesome. Another Friday night show. I made it here to start the show, which I'm pretty excited about. It's December 6th. It's cold in the Mile High City. We have Jay. We got a couple of guests with us. So, Jay, what's up, man?
Hey, yo. It's an exciting Friday evening. There's so much going on in Denver tonight, right? And here we have I'm really excited about this because it's kind of one of my heroes. Joel Halen is here with us. He's probably
everybody?
One of the best glass blowers around, and he's the first glass blower that we're having on our show. So welcome, Joel.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good to have you. I spent 2 years living in Fort Collins and wasn't too familiar with your work till being down in Denver, and then, everybody knows about you. You know what I mean? Like you've I don't want to say blown up, but that's kind of the word for it. But like, how did it start? Like, how did you start glass blowing?
I started in the front of a head shop doing the sales, actually, at a shop in Nebraska that had a studio in the back. They blew the glass right there, and then we sold everything out front. Eventually, after just doing enough stuff out front, they gave me a chance to get in back and went from there and worked for them for a good 3 years, and then moved out to Colorado and started doing freelance stuff, doing the everyday, heading out to shops and just going around, walking around. And
you worked at Kind Creations for a while,
then
too.
picked up Kind, and me and Worm did a lot of the Kind products for a long time. And then that moved down to Denver for more of the scientific stuff. And basically from there, I just started doing more stuff independently. Mad Hatters picked up a lot of stuff in Denver, and they basically started the whole Denver kind of thing, you know. I've been around, and people know, but, you know, I started the Halen label, and the Mad Hatters crew picked that up a lot, and they started that.
Mad Hatters was kind of an institution here in Denver.
You know. Well, they've moved on now. You know, now you got Mountain Wookiees down in Colorado Springs, right? They're right outside of there.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I got to find more outlets. There are other outlets. There's dispensaries that carry a lot of honey holes. Pink House has the rodeo with their, you know, they're getting pink lips on there. Their little special tricks.
Right on. You know, I understand you can find your glass at a little online website kind of shop, huh?
Yes, as well. Yeah, you know the name of that one there, Joel.
Mountain High, Colorado. That's right. Most people don't know my name is actually Joel, right?
Yep. Yeah.
That's something we have in common. You know, I go by Citizen J. It's actually my middle name.
Jay.
Jay, yeah.
Nice. Joel J.
Yeah, that's kind of,
JJ.
you know, I was trying to be anonymous when I first started out, you know.
Hey, I you know, that's, you know, some people say that too. Like, you know, I go by my own name. I had no idea what to go by. You know, like there was no better name than my own name. And then, you know, the Van Halen logo kind of played in pretty well.
Oh, I love the logo.
You know, and there's lots of controversy of that, and everybody says, you know, I'm getting sued. Well, I'll tell you what, they haven't said anything yet.
You know, let them. That's, you know, until they do anyway.
You'll find it on the headpieces. You know, like that's where I'd like to put that more premium logo. It used to go on to some of the clear work, but
chances are they'd be proud.
I bet he'd sue me. He sued his wife just recently for doing the same thing, stealing his logo and putting it on a T-shirt.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, we won't tell. We won't tell her.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the actual logo. It's close. It's a J. That's what I say. So it works out.
I am toking on a Joel Halen piece right now.
Does it glow in the dark?
This one does not, but I bet you can get them that do.
There's a couple of different ones. You can get ones that are black light reactive. You can also get ones that glow in the dark. The glow in the dark ones, they're okay. You know, the colors are a little iffy. You know, they're not so bright and vibrant. The UV ones, kind of the same idea, but you can use the UV ones to make other colors glow, kind of. You know.
Right on. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but I understand you brought a guest with you tonight too.
As well,
wanted
yeah.
to introduce E-Box. So
How's it going?
E-Box is here. He's another glass artist. Do you guys share a studio?
Yeah, E-Box actually moved into my studio.
Yeah, we've been working in the same studio now for about 5 months. I've been living here, just moved from Florida. It's going on 5 months, and we met a couple of years ago just online through Facebook, and I had a friend that lived in Fort Collins, Colorado, and he introduced me to Joel, brought me into the shop, and ever since then we kicked it off and been working together. We work well together. I'm sitting there doing the color work and doing everything, and he's the bad man that puts it all together. And
Right. I've definitely seen some collaborations.
Yeah.
Were you blowing glass in Florida before you moved out here?
I've been blowing glass now for about 3 years. Actually 3 years this December, so exactly. I started, in a little bathroom actually. What brought me into glass blowing though is a guy I met out here in Colorado named Sasha Hess.
Mm-hmm.
He makes inline bubblers, and he had showed me pretty much what the glass industry was about. And coincidentally, we were at the same show. We were at a string cheese incident show at Red Rocks.
Nice.
And we got back to Florida. He was coincidentally lived 20 minutes away from me in Florida, and
It's
him
awesome
and
how
his
that
wife
happens.
and he became good friends of mine, and they kind of showed me the ropes. And I worked in a bathroom, in a back patio bathroom at my parents' house, just getting started blowing glass. And eventually I just, I had to graduate school. And once I got out of college, I came out here and doing what I'm doing now.
Right on. I think I've seen some of your stuff at Illusion Glass Galleries.
Yes.
Right on.
Yeah,
and
that's one place I support here in Denver. I think I speak very highly of Illusions. I really like that shop.
I agree. And we're going to be headed over there later tonight. as it's
Absolutely.
First Fridays, and man, that's the place to be in Denver on First Fridays for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's it's going to be super cold out, but
It's
there'll
gonna
be
be chilly.
Yeah, I mean, you can be inside, and then there's a patio out back. But what was the like going from Florida to Fort Collins? Like I went from Iowa to Fort Collins. Like, what was it a culture shock? What was that like for you?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a big culture shock. I mean, there's a good culture where I'm from in Jacksonville, Florida. There's a beach area and a beach. It's just there's a whole culture that goes around, especially a big cannabis culture. It's just the laws there are very strict. So coming out here is like it's you can be yourself. You can do whatever you want in the glass industry. They just had a bong ban law in Florida that was something that was
Scary.
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary
I think
to
it
the
ended up
glass
not
blowers. It
not
wasn't
fully
as-
passed,
it
but
did- it
or it was
fully
watered
passed.
down so that like you could still have shops. And
Exactly. The shops are still active and they're doing everything they can, but still the fact that they're proposing things like that's not a state that I really want to. I mean, I'll always support Florida because it's my hometown, but that's not a state where I actually want to be physically blowing glass. And, I want to get my stuff out there to, there's a way bigger community out here that's a lot more accepting to our culture. So I'd much rather be here in Colorado.
Right,
Fort
right on, man.
Collins
This is where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think as a glass blower, like I mean, you're making these, especially if what you're in glass blowing is pieces for cannabis. Like
Yeah.
it'd be so much better to be in a state where it's legal to smoke it.
You don't
Yeah.
have to hide what
No.
the intention of your pieces is for here, which is pretty amazing. Although a lot of the head shops still do operate under that intention clause.
Well, I think also the head shops could possibly, go under that intention clause because, they're having the recreational pass here just January 1st, and it's, if you have to be 21 to go buy marijuana here, then you're going to have to, and they sell the pipe for marijuana use. You have to be 21 to buy the pipe too.
Yeah, but I've even heard some, head shops saying that they're still concerned about federal laws. Like until it changes federally, even if you're 35, they don't want you calling it a bong.
Right,
And they will
exactly.
not, in which.
And it's
It's
the same
unfortunate.
thing that it says on like Facebook, a lot of these videos and everything that you see up on there. That's great, but Facebook is worldwide. There's a lot of places where it goes where that's not okay.
Not only
you
is
know?
it not okay, there are people losing their lives, right? There was a woman in Malaysia. Everyone thought Thailand, but no, she's in Malaysia, and they're about to put this woman to death over
Some marijuana.
over 4 pounds of marijuana that she was just an unsuspecting mule, like she didn't even know.
Oh wow, crazy. I haven't even seen
But
that.
like we have a sign in our dispensary that says like the discussion regarding tobacco use is strictly prohibited, like the opposite of what you'd find. Because in dispensary, right? Like we don't. What are we? We're not concerned with the federal government, or we are acting like.
Well,
we
it
have
also
nothing to worry about. So
yeah, I mean, to walk into a dispensary at this point, you have to have a license.
That's right.
Yeah, so
It's really well controlled.
Once it becomes legal, then there's a whole different aspect. But it's the say nothing, nothing happens. Scream out loud, you get busted. And it goes back to the first guy that went on the news out here and was like, "I'm gonna make $1 million on these plants," and then what does that
Chris.
dipshit get? He gets fucking pinched, dude. Like
For 3 years.
exactly, you're dumb. Yeah, don't do that shit. It's common sense. So, it is great to fight for the freedom and the right to do it, but, you got to keep it on the boundaries. And pipes have always been on the boundaries. They're always going to be because it is a paraphernalia.
That's right.
And that is by federal law illegal.
I do take that seriously. On my website, I have a whole page full of disclaimers, and I have a lot of that stuff up there.
Yeah.
And again, it's just for legalities. It's a formality that you do to protect yourself. The truth of the matter is, if the federal government wants your ass in a sling,
Oh, yeah.
your ass is in a sling. And, unless you have, unless your lawyer is Dick Cheney, you're going, if they want you, they got you. And that's pretty much all there is to it.
But they have said that they are not concerned with patients and people smoking. They're concerned with, which might be you, people that make a lot of money from it.
Oh, yeah.
And that are, depending on what you do with that money, So that would be where if I started a brand and that brand got really big and we were starting to become in every state and I was starting to make a lot of profit, I'd want to make sure my tax guy knew what the fuck he was doing and that there were no mistakes, that there was nothing,
That's
what I mean?
awesome.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, But the thing is, it doesn't always work that way. I mean, look at Tommy Chong as a perfect example. He was not even involved in his son's business, but the federal prosecutor had a bug up her ass and figured that if she could nail Tommy Chong to the wall,
Well, they used his name.
would give her a promotion, and in fact it did. And he spent, again, 3 years in jail for just, basically taking the rap for his son, who did nothing more than sell bongs, right? Yeah. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And the more and more we get into the corruption, the more insane it gets. Today there was a story out of Pennsylvania. A 61-year-old judge has been convicted and sentenced to 25 years in prison for shuffling people into the prison system.
To make
right?
money.
To make money. It turns out that he was paid over $1 million in bribes by a private prison company in Pennsylvania to just shuffle people into their system.
And now he has to go to prison.
That's right. And now he has to go to prison. It's one of the
Talk about making your bed and then
So
laying in it.
is he making a bunch
one
of
of those
money?
few examples of someone actually catching the bastards, right? How much of this goes on in the country that we don't catch, right? How many people are put to death every year in this country that are innocent? How many people get thrown in jail for nothing more than having a joint?
Yeah, even 4 pounds. I mean, it seems like a lot of weed to me, and it's like I can't even really fathom how much weed that is, but it's just 4 pounds of weed.
It's
Like,
ridiculous.
What if you had 50 kegs? Like, it would be ridiculous, but who would care? Like,
look at a friend on Facebook wrote me a letter recently, an actual letter, like physical letter in the mailbox.
did he
and
write it
everything.
or did he type it?
He
and print
wrote it by hand.
Oh my god!
It was like a 2.5-page letter too. It's pretty impressive. Basically, the guy was arrested for possession, cultivation, and intent to distribute. He had 2 seedlings in pots. The pots had a lot of dirt. They weighed
everything.
the dirt. They weighed the pots. They weighed everything. So they prosecuted him for something like 22 pounds of marijuana when he had 2 seedlings that hadn't even, they were a few inches tall. We're not talking about budding out, but this guy spent years on probation and, he could still go to jail.
I'm not sure if I want
What
to laugh
state?
at how stupid that is or throw up.
That's North Carolina.
Yeah, it's like it's all dependent on that state.
North
Just like
Carolina's
with-
a very iffy state.
Florida doesn't do too well with it.
Georgia either?
Here with LSD, it's whatever it's on. So if you have it on,
So they're gonna weigh the paper or a sugar cube or a lead weight.
You know, it seems to me they're just finding ways to make money or
Well, they
screw
play
people.
They play stupid. They play stupid, which benefits them in the long run. You know, it's kind of they use their own system against them. Oh, we'll just weigh all that. I mean, they absolutely know what was in the raw or the liquid. You know,
Yeah.
like
It drives me crazy. It's just like the cops who get mad at you for exerting your rights, right? I saw this video yesterday of some cop, and he pulled some guy over, and he asked the guy if he could search his truck, and the guy was like, "Not without a warrant." And the cop totally lost it and started like cussing the guy out. And of course, he had no choice but to leave. A lot of people think that's staged because in this day and age, that cop is more likely to pull out a gun and shoot you than respect your rights and walk away.
Or just search your vehicle anyway. Be like, well, too bad. Get out of the car.
Yeah.
But
no, they would be like, let me.
I don't know.
Get the dog real
Me
quick.
and
Yeah.
E-Box got pulled over one night leaving Denny's once when we were, what was it, this summer?
Yeah, last summer.
And we ran a stop sign. And then he's like, "What are you doing around here?" I was like, "Well, we ate at Denny's. I told you we had dinner when you pulled me over." "Where were you coming from?" "Well, we just had dinner at Denny's and going back to the shop to blow a glass." It was a real sketchy neighborhood around here. And it's right near the interstate. You know, there are daily hotels. And
Okay, hold on. This is in Fort Collins?
Yeah.
Sketchy? Okay,
Sketchy,
I'm
yeah.
from Baltimore, okay? And D.C. and New York. There is no sketchy part of Fort Collins. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, so he wants to search the car. And I said, "No. For what for?" Like, I mean, we left from dinner, dude. Like, what are we doing? We're picking up a pound of weed from the fucking waitress at Denny's or something like that? Like, I don't know what's going on. So he was like, he basically just handed us the license back and registration. It was like, "You ran that stop sign, make sure you stop." And that was it. No ticket, no nothing. Just random pull over and harass.
You know,
tried to search your vehicle.
Yeah,
and when
yeah,
you,
and you know, and the only reason I really didn't is because we had a pipe in the car.
oh, and because
It-
it
just
would,
a pipe, because we didn't bring a bag of weed to fucking Denny's and back.
Yeah,
but you would
we
be
did-
legal. You'd be legal
Like-
to have the pipe. It would just be more the annoyance of having to get out the car, have him
Oh, yeah.
ransack through your shit, maybe not put it back, like get in your trunk,
they've-
like
They've
even if
done
you have
that
nothing
so
on
many
you.
times. Turn the cooler upside down in the back seat of your car.
Yeah, even if you have nothing
Like,
on.
oh,
you,
that was
not
badass.
just-
I was a minor too, like,
Man.
and he dumps a cooler of beer over in the car. I never got charged with an MIP though. You know, I wasn't drinking it, and they never breathalyzed me. They were just like, they searched for.
You know,
This is when I was younger.
I hate to say
too.
it, but I think a lot of our good fortune has to do with our life circumstances and
It's-
the color of our skin. you
And
know?
it's also different for state, you know, like the good old boys from Nebraska, like those boys like to like, "What are you doing, boy?" You know, if you play football, be on your way, you know. But if you're against all that, they're gonna pull you out of the car and search you, you know, long-haired hippie kind of shit. And
So funny in the land of the free and the home of the brave, where individualism is praised, right? If you step out of line or look any different, the cops are gonna get you.
oh yeah, it's different. That's what they look for normal.
Yeah.
That's why people move to strange places. You know what I mean? Like people in New York City, everybody looks normal, right? Even if you wear fucking
Goth.
goth or like, you know, whatever, emo, this, that.
Even if you're like 60 and wear those.
There's so
things,
many
you're
different
like, oh,
cultures there. You know, you got Chinatown. I'm sure you got Russian Town, and you know all that shit.
It's true.
I know,
You do.
You know, it breaks off into the boroughs, and
Yeah.
you get different sections of what
neighborhoods, yeah.
hoods are.
I would
ethnic
think Los
sections.
Angeles would be similar too. Like,
Yeah.
I've
Any
never
major
really been,
city
but,
is like that.
but I mean, I think specifically Los Angeles and New York would really. I mean,
mean,
is there? I guess
Doesn't
Houston,
Denver do that?
I think every city is gonna have.
I mean, don't you
its
have areas where you have more
cultural
black
areas, right,
population
it's
and
diverse.
Hispanic population?
or just
and
people that are just don't look normal, whatever, with just piercings that are abnormal, metal implants, just.
Oh, I
all
love
kinds of-
those.
yeah.
Those are sweet. I want to see if I can get a set of rollers put into my hands.
Rollers for like glass working.
Yeah. Go lazy, man.
Joel roller hands.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That's hilarious.
Easy to roll off the hand.
You guys, I think it's about time we take our first break. So we're gonna do that. When we come back, we're gonna continue with E-Box and Joel Halen.
The Law Office of Edson Maton and Matz provides criminal defense, family law, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running a medical marijuana center, optional premises cultivation operation, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout the state of Colorado. We're focused on providing high-quality service and customer satisfaction. We will do everything we can to meet your expectations. WarrenEdson.com. Edson Maton and Matz in Denver, 303-831-8188, and in Aspen, 970-948-7183. WarrenEdson.com.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On Grass. Runongrass.com.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
And we're back. So, Joel Halen brought some shatter. It's my understanding that you really only smoke your own shatter these days. Is that right?
For the most part. I mean, there are a few friends that definitely bring by some samples, and I'll take some stuff from people I know. But, I try and make it myself. It's easy.
This is beautiful looking shatter, man. It looks like it almost looks like CO2 oil. It's so clean looking and butterscotch.
Been sitting in my pocket too in the heated seat on the way down here. It probably wasn't the best idea to put it in my back pocket.
You probably farted on it.
Yes,
that's the trick right there.
Yep.
That's some special shit.
It's still got a little bit of methane in it.
A little extra added kick.
We try and make our own. I mean, I think when you put in what you make out of it, or you know what I mean. Like, you find your good product, you put in everything you want to do, and if you got the equipment, it's not that bad. Like I even have an old used oven. It's not like a super fancy oven. It's tricky. It's like an old lady. You just gotta like get her right ticks and.
So you are medicating off of the pieces that you've made and the bud the medication that you have
self-sufficient,
made. That would be so
That's fun.
rewarding, I guess. Oh my god.
I use other people's e-nails. I don't do the electronics. I'm not very good with
last
electronics.
time I was at your shop, you had 3 e-nails set up.
I've gotten a lot of the companies to do some trade work with the nails I've made, and then I wanted to try them all. Do
you have a favorite?
No, they're all about the same, to tell you the truth. Like, there's other ones that have better options, or some have only one option, or others have other options. That the look and the feel of them is the most important to people, I think. Mm-hmm. They want it to look nice. And, like the D-nail, he's been doing wood ones. And then, the Bomb Box, he does, carbon wrap fiber or Wu-Tang labels, I think I saw on one. Mm-hmm. Temple guys, they've changed it up. And as far as I know, they're changing it up again. I believe there's a new name. Don't remember exactly what it's going to be.
That's cool. I like that Temple. I think it's cool looking. And a friend of mine has one, and he had Emerge totally deck it out.
Redo it. Yeah, James.
Yeah, Chem James. He had him put honeycomb and bees on it, and I asked Emerge about that. He constructed each one of those bees himself, from scratch. It's pretty amazing work.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. I'd have to check it out. But that's the thing. Like, everybody has a different thing. It's kind of like glass blowing. Like your little twerks and tweaks on it, and parts are important. And I think when people finally realize that they're going to be expensive because you want really good parts, that you're just going to have to pay the buck. But then you're really pretty self-sufficient. And, like, man, I have some of the oldest nails that we've started with the electric stuff. They still kick it. People get them one day, they break them. I just don't know. I think a lot of it comes to how you choose your piece for construction. It's not like you don't want to buy out that's my favorite piece and try and put this big elaborate fucking metal nail or whatever nail on it and have it pull it over. It's like having a dog on a leash. You now put yourself on a leash, because if you want to hit that, you can't go from this far from the box.
Right, you got to choose your components that go with you, that complement.
So if you pick a piece that will hold the weight and no problem, then you don't have any problems. Yeah. But if you pick something small, like just simply break fairly easy, you know. And that's
Yeah.
what
I've
I mean.
been really lucky.
I just had a guy recently on a custom order ask me for a 10 millimeter to an 18 millimeter adapter for his e-nail. And the second day, I told him I didn't really want to make it because of the going from small to big factor. And I mean, the thing broke in 2 days. I told him it was going to, and you know, it's just there's certain things like that. People want custom requests for all these 10 millimeter joints now and the smaller things, and it's getting a little different, you know.
And they don't understand the
Yeah.
dynamics of actual glass making.
Yeah. Because I mean, those joints
Sometimes
aren't.
on structure, yeah,
Those joints
you know?
aren't as sturdy as you would think, you know. They're really
Smaller.
You know, those things are pretty small.
Like I said, I've been really lucky with a lot of my glass.
If you're good with it, you have no problems.
Yeah, I'm really good with my
There
glass.
are people that have honey holes that still are straight. You know, straight flat top. Accidents happen, and that's plain and simple. Like, hey, if glass didn't break, I'd be broke. Every other glass would be too.
I like that. If glass didn't break, I'd be broke. Yeah.
Dude, but don't every time. It seems like every time we go to any large event, like the meet and greets, like just at one point in the night, you'll hear it. Glass will break, and then there'll be just everybody will just kind of.
Yeah. Ha 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 is what I say.
exactly.
That did
Fork
happen
out
at the
another
meet and
$1,400
greet
bucks.
this-
It happened twice the last time.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Where?
At the meet and greet at and you know, it was held at the
I'll use stone
Big Grow
dispensary
Supplies.
order.
Grow Big
Huge-
Supply, yeah.
Grow Big. So it's a huge warehouse. And when that glass broke, and I don't know what it was, but it echoed, man, and the whole place went dead silent.
Was it that guy, the bowl? Because he came looking for a bowl. And you
It's
sold
just
him
a bowl that he
replacement
broke?
bowl?
No, that was not that. Because he had his bowl. He just had chipped a little piece off of it. And this was a big shatter, that noise that I'm talking about.
Big glass.
Big glass break.
So it probably wasn't anything that big of a deal then, because no one makes big stuff anymore. It's shrunk down pretty far, man. Like
That's
the
not
game.
true. Look at the piece
This
brought in
seems
today.
like a big thing.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
flowers
but even this is pretty,
pretty
small for how much volume it is, you know. And
and 2 perks and what
yeah,
it used
this
to be.
this hits really smooth. Like,
You
I
know,
put
it's
this
not the
against a
triple stack
big
fucking straight
tube any
tube you used
day.
to get. Bong rips, yeah, straight 12s and straight 18s. Like, no one buys that
People
shit
are all
anymore.
about
I mean,
the
they do.
small little 3
Yeah,
volt
I mean,
tweezers
there
now.
are people out there, but you get one that's quality, it should last you a long time. You buy one that's cheap, you keep buying the cheap ones.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true
and-
enough.
Well, yeah, I see people with like 10 rigs that, are still hundreds of dollars, but those tall, kind of thin pieces still in the, say, few $100 range, but people don't have 8 or 10 of them.
No, they have one. They use
Yeah.
one as a function, straight flower tube or stuff like that. you
But
know.
why is it that you'll see people with several small rigs? It's not like a money issue, it's like a space issue? Or
It's
what?
a new thing.
I think it's
the
a
new
style.
fad, you know.
Well, a lot of I feel like a lot of
Yep.
a lot of the culture has gone towards smoking the oils now rather than the herbs. I would say majority of it. And when you're smoking oils, a lot of people like to diffuse it through a less amount of water, so you're getting more of the flavor and
Right.
the terpenes out of the oils.
Yep.
And that's probably why people are leaning more towards the smaller things now and the lesser diffusion. The more diffusion that you're going to put on your oil, the more flavor that it's going to take out of it because there's more percolation for it to go through.
Right on. Yep, I've noticed that, and I've seen some incredibly tiny rigs recently, like from Ewok.
Yeah, he's
Right,
doing
like
those
these,
slider
the
rigs.
littlest, tiniest things. Like I can't even imagine how they would function, but they do. Again, Kem James bought one of those little perfume bottle rigs, and yeah, it works.
Yeah.
It works. It's
I mean,
amazing.
I make a whole line of tiny tubes where they range from 4 to 5 inches, and I mean they're small.
Yeah.
I throw 10 millimeter joints on them, and they just got basic little 2-hole down stems fixed into them, and people love them. I just sent about 10 of them out to Wonderland Gifts in West Palm Beach.
Oh, yeah,
right
is he
on.
gonna be there?
Right on. Yeah, people do like their mini rigs.
I'm too big. And with glasses, I feel like I end up which is fine when I'm close, like looking underneath my glasses, but it just feels weird. I don't like small is a little uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
prefer-
gets on your lips. I hate that shit. I think it needs to be a little bit bigger. I mean, and it's also the way that mouthpieces are made. That all comes down to it. Really, I think you got to use your shit if you want it to work right. But there's a lot of people that don't. Or
That's a
don't get the
good
chance.
point. That is a good point. I think what he means is you actually have to use the glass that you are blowing to make sure it works.
Yeah.
And
Product
to
test.
perfect it, before you send it out there. And I think you're right. A lot of A lot of people don't necessarily do that, and the glass companies that do, you can tell.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like it's a company when you make several of them. You know, as an artist, as one person, that doesn't really make all that big of a difference. You're making one artsy piece, or you're making, you know, you turn it into a production line. You best make sure it works.
Yep.
You know, is what I think.
You know,
oh my gosh!
I want to emphasize that. You know, like you brought a piece for me tonight that a customer bought from me.
Yep.
Right. And you know, when you order a piece from the artist, they make it for you. It's like, I mean, just imagine that. Imagine if you were friends with Leonardo da Vinci and he like painted your
but it wasn't.
dinnerware.
I wasn't painting a painting like that. You know what I mean? I was like, you know, what I sell a lot of, and like what you sell on the store, is more production stuff. You know, like the not really nice artwork pieces sometimes need to be seen in person to really appreciate.
Right on, yeah. The heady stuff you can't just order online.
It's hard, yeah. It's really hard to do that because like there's a lot of disappointment sometimes in that. And you know what disappoints me a lot is when they buy it and then a week later they resell it. Like that's disappointing just to me, and it's a personal disappointing, you know, just like, wow, obviously he didn't like it. You know, maybe he did, maybe he just went broke. Who knows? But, you know, like hey, sometimes that's like that's kind of a shot, you know, like you're like, oh shit, like the kid didn't even keep it a fucking week. All right, cool.
Wow.
Right?
I never even considered that, you know.
Well,
it's funny because I have a lot of pieces and people have asked me if I'd consider selling them any of my personal pieces, and I'm like, what? Why would I do that?
I mean, you know, like sometimes people find and fall in love in certain pieces, you know. So if they find a love like that, I'd say go for it and see if you can get a piece like that. I've done it back when I was younger for giant tubes. Like this is back when we were smoking commercial in Nebraska.
I used to give those away.
Right. You know, like in these just big burly pieces. And, you know, we did a little trade. It got to keep it. They eventually all break and fall apart, yada, yada. But, you know, now the day and age where something like that you actually put some time into and went out and just made it together, or just one day you were feeling something and then to sell it, great. But then to see someone really not appreciate it all that well and then get rid of it, you're like, oh.
But like I guess it, you know, and it could be the same like we were talking about with like research and development. And when you make something, like you might see it, it might be this great idea, but then you make it and it just doesn't hit the way you want. It doesn't fully bubble the way you want.
That doesn't make it publicly. You know what I mean?
Sure, but then like let's say that someone orders something and like if you don't get a hit before you buy it and you're expecting it to be a certain way, then if it's not that way, it might be like, gosh, that was such an awesome work of art. But it's just not what I thought it was going to be.
Right. That's a lot of the reason why I don't do customs anymore. Too, like
because like I want it to be this, and I want it to be two inlines side by side, and I want them to go at a 4-degree angle apart from each other.
Like
exactly.
tell him to make it.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, here you go. Here's the glasses and a piece of rod.
Because gosh, you could spend a week making something, and then it just is like, no, this is not. It doesn't.
Yeah, you see, and that's where the searches come down to narrow. It's like you like this, okay? You want a couple of colors here. We'll do with that, and then that's it.
It's like a proven design, and then you can tweak the whatever the cosmetics of it. But
they're the guys that are like, hey, they sent me a picture of a Toro. Can you make something like this? And I'm like, hey, yo, dog. Like, why don't you just ask Toro? It's like, you can't do that. Like it's just one of those things. It's like if we're all going to try and be professional here and do this, give the respect to the people that are doing it and ask them.
Do you have copies of your pieces out there? That's something that I've heard from other glass blowers. Like, do you find like Chinese knockoffs of your pieces?
Well, there's like domeless nails that are similar and stuff like that. $375.
But like say these bowls with the horns, like I would think you could see like you might see like some sort of website that had the Chinese knockoff that they were like $10 or something. You know what I mean? Like
I'm sure
that were not like this is quartz, right? Like that were some sort of like just cheapy glass that they could somehow copy the design. Right. Mass produce 1,000 of them and sell them for cheap. Like
right. Well, that one's not quartz.
No, it's not
quartz. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there are knockoffs of everything. They've been doing it forever, and they're still gonna do it because I mean, China rules, and like the Asian countries that make a lot of the parts for everything we do. The microphone's all made out of those parts.
Sure.
Most of the glass we get from German shot. The joints I buy are all good joints from Lens. That's one thing that I do. I buy first quality colors. I don't buy too much seconds unless we're doing other things like cooking it back down and remelting it into mountain berry or this or that.
Making your own colors, eh?
Right, exactly. Cleaning out the dirt and grit that's out of the lower quality. But all those companies are American-made companies too. North Star, Alchemy, Tag. All those ones are all just. We're supporting America in that aspect. Now, they may buy some glass outsourced from China. They're clear cullet, but they're also making a product out of that. So they're changing that product. It's the same way as I get raw material and then I change the product. But I just try and start with better quality glass. And that's what, Elliot does the same thing. He uses first quality glass, good tubing. We try and do the highest amount of product. You get the better price.
The materials and the prep that you use.
It looks better too.
It goes into your work. With however nice the materials that you use are, and however nice the prep work that you make is how the piece will end up reflecting, looking like.
Well, gosh, that would nothing would seem more unfortunate as a glassblower is to try and be making this beautiful art, but if you're just starting out with not quality glass, how are you? I think it would make it difficult to make a good final product.
And it is rather difficult to get some of the larger, higher quality glass. I know Joel, when we do collabs, he likes to do he doesn't like to right now, but we do the flared feet and like the base of the piece. We like to do in all color, but he likes to do, a big flared foot, and you got to find big, solid tubing to do that. Big, thick tubing, and it's really hard. Today we were just at DNL Art Supply here in Denver, and he found some good-sized tubing, and sometimes it's a hit or miss. Sometimes you got to order it directly from the company and wait on it, and it's really iffy.
Why is that? Why is glass tubing? Why is it such a commodity?
Well, bigger tubing. Tubing in general is it's a commodity because it's
this is color
tubing, not just clear tubing.
So somebody makes it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Jeremiah, Hand of Man at Champs. Like he pulls tubes and makes colors, and then he sells the tubes to artists so that they can
use it.
Yeah. And these companies make this already, the tubing, and then you can just buy it pre-made instead of making your own or pulling your own or such on like that.
Yeah.
Is there a lot more collaboration? Someone actually asked me this recently about the glass community in Denver, and as far as I can see, it's a really friendly community.
It is.
It's changed. I'll tell you that.
It's very open and sharing, I would say.
It didn't used to be like that.
We just walked into Calvin Mickle and Alex Ubatuba's studio right before we came here.
Oh, right on.
And, they're very accepting people. They let us in their studio with open arms, make yourself at home, and it's cool, you get to check out their studio, what their setup's like, what they're doing, what colors they're using, things like that. It's enlightening to another glassblower.
Right on, man. I'm sure everyone benefits from that kind of enrichment around the entire community.
2 minutes to 7:10.
Oh, thanks, Chris. So it's 7:08, which means we have to prepare for our 7:10 ritual of dabbing, which we never do except at 7:10, right? No, that's of course not. So tonight I'm dabbing on some Huxley's Death Star. And of course we don't have enough rigs to everyone dab at once. So.
Oh, come on. 2 of you can hit this at once, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. We'll
have
share.
Picks?
Here's one for you, man. I'll set you up.
Oh, there's my damage.
1 minute.
Really, if you break the honey hole up in kind of like quadrants, it should be warm enough for all three of us to hit it.
Really?
You just gotta really just heat the thing really well at one time. I'll try and take it where it's the smallest. So it's easier.
Joel, you got to take a double dab. You got to take mine.
No, I can't do that. I can't.
So somebody asked on the chat if we pay attention to the chat. We try to pay attention to the chat. I do have my computer up there. So the weather here is really super cold, but not as cold as it was. We're expecting some snow, maybe, but that's,
Wow. See, that worked, right? We got 2. Let's see if we can get the third.
oh yeah, that's
Might
3 dabs.
Carb gab it.
So E-Box doesn't dab, and you explained to me earlier that you've actually been kind of diagnosed with an allergy to cannabis.
Yeah, it's back. It was about three years ago. I got diagnosed as they didn't really know what was wrong with me. They took out my gallbladder. That I had all these medical issues, things of that sort. And I was having problems having stomach seizures, and I was throwing up consistently, going in and out of the hospital, and it was hell. And eventually, you know, they kept telling me everything's fine with you. All your tests are coming back fine, but you know, the only complication is that you smoke, and you know, if you cut that out of your life and you know, try to see what comes of that, then it could possibly be an allergy. And I was always a stubborn person, stubborn as could be. I didn't want to stop. I loved it. You know, I still love it. I still love the culture. I blow glass. You know, I surround myself with this every day. And you know, I mean, it's hard, but I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. You know, I still live every day and get to hang out with the people I love and the culture I love. And pretty much that's. I mean, I haven't smoked. I haven't taken a puff in 3 years, but I mean, I feel healthier than I've ever been. So I mean, I took some good advice.
There you go.
And that's what you kind of confirmed that it was an allergy to?
I mean, I was told by several different people there. I mean, back when I started getting this, I mean, if you look up, there's something called cannabinoid hypermesis and cyclical vomiting syndrome, and it's very rare, but I mean, it could be genetic. There could be a lot of factors in it, and they seriously don't know. I don't know, but I just know that, you know, in the past 3 years I haven't smoked, and I felt fine, you know, but I still love to surround myself by the culture. I know when, you know, that thing, the incident with Jenny Cush happened, I was right there with Joel at her, you know, ceremony, and, you know, I support every bit of the culture and support every single thing about the art of glass and the art of growing. I used to be a grower myself, so I mean, there's a lot of things that I support within this industry, and I think it's how you say blowing up. You said earlier.
Yeah.
So,
No, we have a friend, Danny, who just has been around cannabis all her life as a bud tender and just chooses not to smoke.
Yeah,
just had a bad experience, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I'm
still
sure-
loves
I'm
to
sure
surround herself with the culture and with
I'm not
people
the
that are
only
smoking.
glass blower that doesn't smoke. I'm sure there's some out there.
Yeah,
I'd love to meet
There's a
them.
couple here in Colorado too.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if you like, it's kind of the opposite. You know, I find it just to be just right for me and just feels great. And there's somebody, it just seems naturally and it feels good. But
yeah.
if it's the opposite for someone, then gosh, by all means, like, you know, and if you feel healthy and if you're healthy, gosh,
When you get right down
health-
to it,
one's health is the most important
The
thing.
culture is full of really creative, open, and giving people. And you're going to gravitate to that if you're a creative, open, and giving person, whether or not you partake of cannabis or not.
And
right?
and another reason I could, if I want, flow more towards the artistic side and just focus on sculpture, or wine goblets, or mugs, or something like that.
Art glass, sure.
Art glass. But the reason I focus more on pipes is I feel like somebody can actually look at this piece of art that's in their hand, that's handmade, but they also get to use it every day, and they get to have an experience with that pipe. So it's a whole different thing that someone that, you know, you put up a Picasso painting and yeah, it's there in your house, but do you get to use it every day and have an experience with it every single day?
Not in a tactile sense, no.
Exactly.
Not if you want to preserve it. I mean, I
That's
suppose you could lick your Picasso, but
Yeah.
I have to let paint.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Wouldn't like a really awesome coffee mug, like for someone that really enjoys a cup of coffee or a
Oh,
cup
I
of hot
have
chocolate
one.
in the morning?
Yeah.
If you made one, I mean, it would probably kind of be a
Yeah.
similar experience.
Yeah,
Or like I'm just
absolutely.
thinking of other things I use in my life that are semi-important or that I use on a daily basis and appreciate them as objects. If they were like a piece of glass, I think that would be better. Like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of, like-
I have my own glass coffee mug for sure.
Put glass taillights in your car.
Brandon, so I'm looking at the chat and I'm
Yeah.
noticing
Yeah,
that
yeah, from Lunchbox
people are
or
talking
from
about
Chris.
keef
Yeah.
and dry ice hash. They were talking about glass before, but I think they're like getting into some kind of a contest about whose keef is better. I'd like to see a question directed at one of these glass blowers. And I want to remind people that they can actually call in and talk to us at 720-381-1420. Also want to give my weekly shout out to Incredibles, right? Medically Correct makes the Incredibles bar. They sponsor our show.
Nice.
They taste really good, and they work really well.
Tell them sorry, Skype wasn't on, but it's on now that they can call.
Oh, okay. So Chris said that the Skype wasn't working before. He was having technical difficulties, but he's fixed them because he's an amazing engineer. And all right, so someone says, "Tell us about your car, Mark." Not exactly what I was hoping for. Here we go. Why is it hard to work with quartz? So why is it harder to work with quartz than with glass? And actually, can you, I think I know the distinction between quartz and glass. Someone's
Let's
calling.
take a
Let's
call.
take it. Yeah, do it.
We got to go back to that question, though. That was a good question.
What's up, caller? How's it going? No.
All right, so go ahead and explain to us the difference.
Damn,
between...
caller, you got me out of it. No. Okay, quartz is just a lot stiffer. It's so like, you guys know metal a little bit.
Sure.
You know, like compositions of metal and stuff. Mild steel to tungsten.
Sure.
Okay, so like tungsten's very strong. Phone call.
Hey, what's up, caller? How's it going?
Hey guys, it's Josh from Tennessee. What's up?
Hey, Josh
Hey,
from
Josh.
Tennessee. You got a question?
Well, actually we do. It's a little bit of a strange one. If you guys were limited to bud for a day, how many grams would you smoke?
That's a good question. If we were limited to just bud for the day, how many grams would we smoke? On average, I smoke about 2.5 or 3 grams of bud in a day, I would think, or so.
Cool, Josh. I appreciate you calling. That's an interesting question. I guess for me, probably, around an eighth. I mean, if I was really not smoking any wax, and I usually every day smoke a little bit of wax, but if I was just smoking flower only, probably around an eighth, a little bit more.
I'd like to think that I would smoke a lot less than an eighth, but the truth is...
Oh, I know I do, especially in Tennessee. You know, less than legal here still, but we're making slow but sure movement, so it's good to see something.
Right on, man. Well, keep up the good work. Thanks for calling, and keep on talking.
Hey, no problem. You guys have a good one, too. Thanks for accepting the call.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
I want to get back to that question, Joel. So the difference between quartz and glass.
Quartz is really stiff, really hard glass compared to boro. Boro has a lower coefficient number, or a higher coefficient number, so it makes it softer, but it's still extremely hard glass. Soft glass sits at like 100s and 90s, 96, 106, I believe.
I wonder about this, and I might be wrong about this, because this is an assumption that I've made from the little bit of knowledge that I have. Quartz is a mineral, right?
Yes.
So quartz glass, I assume, is made by taking that mineral and grinding it into a powder and creating
the mineral is silica, and that's what they make it out of, basically. They make quartz out of silica.
I see.
And they grind it, clean it, refine it, then they process it. So it's not like you can't take a gem and like shape it, because in all those gems too, you got irons and things like that would mess up the glass. And metals are what make color, and that's the reason why some colors don't work all that well, because you put too much metals in it, and it has a problem bonding with the other parts of glass, so they break or crack. But quartz has a lower number at 13, I believe, so it makes it harder, so it can't flex as much. So when everybody has this debate on how it breaks so easily, yes, if you drop it, it can shatter, because it's so strong that when it hits, there's nothing to give.
Right, it's brittle.
Right, there's the whole thing with, Newton's motion of,
it's a heavy thing, so when it hits the ground, because of the weight of it, it's just going to
break. With boro,
force.
it likes to give flex to it, and it'll break. So quartz glass also takes a higher temperature heat. That's why you use a torch on it, and it never breaks. If we were to make them out of boro, they would work, but the cooling and heating of it,
eventually it cracks it. I've cracked a few borosilicate nails. Right?
They taste really good because you don't heat them as hot, and that's the thing. Quartz takes a really long time to glow red because it takes so much heat to get it hot. So Boro doesn't. So it'll glow faster. So it'll be at a lower temperature so that you can dab it easier, quicker, faster. It's the same way with titanium. Heats up quicker and conducts heat easier, so it glows red real quick. Then when it's cooled and it goes away, it's got a real easy indicator. Glows red. When it goes away, hit it.
There you go.
You know, like the opposite with quartz, because you got to heat it so long to get it red. Now you have to wait to cool it. So it's you know, like if you're impatient, you hate quartz. You know, you hit it too hot, it tastes bad. And that's the most common problem with.
Well, that's what I always thought, because it like you would actually. I thought quartz was you could just kind of heat it up a little quicker because it seemed to dab at a smaller at a less of a temperature.
You can most of the time because it's thinner.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. Like most of these things are made with heavy wall tubings, so they're thicker and it takes long. You know, it retains heat longer. Quartz just, you know, it's a whole different thing, and really I don't know a whole lot about it because I'm really just a glass blower that just started making honey holes.
I thought you had that PhD in chemistry, but
no,
okay, so
no, not me.
Speaking of being the glass blower, someone else asked, how did you get into glass blowing when you hadn't done it before?
Well, I was working in the front of the head shop, and we sold pipes out of there. And when they were in back there doing it, I was just naturally hanging out, making beads. I actually started on a small little national hand torch that I still, not the same torch, but I use one of those when I'm on the lathe. And I learned how to make mandrel beads, and then I started making free beads, and then implosion marbles, and then.
What would you say to somebody now who wanted to get into glass blowing, specifically to make heavy pipes? You know?
It takes a long time. You can get at it pretty good, but you know what helps is like good influences through good people, good artists, just really trying and really going at it, you know.
Not to focus on the money, but focus on your actual artistic ability itself. Just flow with whatever your mind could develop, because you can make anything you want out of glass. The medium is, you have endless possibilities with making anything you want out of glass.
So find what you're good at.
Yeah.
Find what you're good at. If you like something, a cartoon, if you like, sports cars, if you like music, whatever you like, you can develop it into your own style through glass. And I personally never really been artistic in the drawing factor, never thought I would. But when I picked up a piece of glass, it was a lot different. You know, I was interested in looking into the flame and seeing what the glass would do. And so just shaping the glass, you know, doing things with it, there's endless possibilities. You know, you could do whatever you want with it, make whatever you want. If someone were to come up to me and ask how to get into glass blowing, I would first tell them that you need to focus on your artistic ability before even focusing on making a living at it, because that's what's going to actually go and propel your work. Because when someone sees your art, that's going to make your living.
How long did it take? Because that was another question that came up. How long did it take for you to become recognized as a glass blower in your own right?
Well, for me, it took a while because at first we didn't put out who we were, you know, like, so I never took a name right away. You know, this whole new culture with names and being out there and, you know, performing in front of people is really new. It's
interesting.
You know, it wasn't as accepting, and you know that question was earlier about how everybody's become a community. That's pretty fairly new, man. That's like 5 years only new. Everybody used to keep trade secrets.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other night and how I came in the glass blowing. He was telling me at a really good era, like, you know, a point where people are getting recognized, and you're able to get yourself recognized through online marketing, and you know, just going and blowing glass in certain demos and things like that. You know, he didn't have that opportunity when he first started. 10 or 15 years ago?
Yeah, it's coming up on 13 years.
13 years ago.
13 years.
And, you know, I started 3 years ago, and you know, by the first year, I was already doing a demo in Tallahassee, Florida, for tobacco leaf in Tallahassee, Florida. So.
And that's how like the internet can really change so much popularity and styles. Like, I mean, you get to see everybody's work. Yep. You don't necessarily get to handle it, and you know the pictures can always be like taken well, and you know you can hide imperfections and stuff like that. I think Mickelson has a quote about taking photos of even cracked pieces, because no one can tell it's cracked if you cover it the right way, or
you
turn
go.
it
It's
the
all,
right direction.
it's
you
all
know,
about
like-
hiding your mistakes in glass blowing.
Yeah, because it's all cataloged artwork at that point. Because like a lot of people won't see it in person ever. You know, a lot of those pictures that are on the internet, you know, the guy has it and he leaves it at home. You know, like you may never see that piece again other than up on the internet.
Right on.
And sometimes your mistakes in glass blowing, you know, is our trash, but another man's treasure. You know, some people I've had people come by the shop before, look through my trash and say, "Oh, this is beautiful. Why aren't you using it?" You know, and obviously there's a defect in it to me. So,
Oh gosh, I'm sure. Yeah, you could sell a piece for essentially cost. You know what I mean? Like if you're putting it in a store and it's selling for $400, but oh gosh, like right near the end or in the kiln or just whatever, it got a couple of cracks in it that still make it useful. I'm sure somebody would pay $200 for it. You know what I mean? Would pay half price if they knew it was still new, but just had this defect.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna. It doesn't necessarily make
Right
it more
on.
likely
It's
to break.
art, so those defects
Yeah, like-
are actually kind of personable.
Like a
and,
bubble
and-
in it somewhere.
Yeah, it's like a one of a kind thing. I know another artist. He puts his stuff up online all the time, and if he has a piece that's a second, he'll just say, "Hey, this is a second, so I'm going to sell it for less money." You know, I think that's great. It's
so the
still
color
art.
companies do too. Well, he was talking about that earlier.
But there's still, I feel like, as an artist, you would hate to be putting products out there that are less than perfect. Is there that?
Exactly.
Exactly. You don't want to do that. It's
They go to friends.
Yeah.
Friends mostly, or like promotion kind of things, free raffle giveaways. Like if it's not an important raffle or something like that, you know, like there's like Jenny's tube should be up somewhere. You know, like I spent a good amount of time in E-Box Helped, you know, at the same part.
I saw that
And we
piece.
put
It's
out,
beautiful.
like,
It's at the Hood Labs, right?
Yeah, I mean we want to get them some good money, you know, like, and that's why I made it so that they could get a good whatever they need for that, you know.
You know what? I'm gonna say something because it's worthy of saying. AJ Hashman today announced that he was donating all of the proceeds from the last 2 meet and greets for Jenny's kids to have a good Christmas.
Awesome.
It's around $1,100 he's giving to those kids, and I just
That's
wanted
awesome.
to
Nice.
give him a little shout out because, you know, we're talking about community, and that's one of the themes that I bring up a lot, you know, because it is such a strong community here, and it's getting stronger, right?
It is. Well, it's a movement. It's like the state to legalize it. Denver's the hub of that, you know. These other cities, they have parts, but this is where it all is. Like, you know, you see that right back there, legalize it 2012,
Yeah.
you know. Like, it was mostly the city and the city, where right here and the people debating it. And
Right in the capital.
the people that were doing all the stuff that made it possible. So, and people doing the petitions, and they went around to festivals, and people from all over came over, and registered voters came out and said, "Hey, we want to try and do this." And you know, there's lots of loopholes to jump through, and there's lots of things you're gonna have to do. So
It's a new thing, you folks.
yeah,
right?
it's
a new
gonna
thing.
take it's gonna take a
while.
long time to get everything right and perfect, and you know.
But we're blazing the trail.
Yeah,
Right,
what a
and-
good time and place to be alive.
And everybody, you know, the profits will turn, and the wheels will be paid, the taxes will be paid. Like the state will do well. You know, like it's a booming business, and it's something that the state should be involved in.
Right?
You
They're
know?
saying it's
And,
going
like,
to be bigger than the tech boom, right?
Yeah.
And they're calling Denver the Silicon Valley of the
Well,
cannabis industry.
It'd be great. You know, I'm sure Denver would love the tourism part of it. You know, I'm sure like they clean up a couple of areas, they get some nice stuff going around all the time. You
Yeah,
know?
like the Performing Arts Center, for example. If they clean that place up.
You know,
That's-
there's lots of
it's a
nice
joke, you
venues.
guys. Did
Lots
you
of-
know that Denver has the second largest performing arts venue in the country?
I did not know that.
It's pretty amazing. If you've never been down to the Performing Arts Center in Denver, it's huge. There's like 4 or 5 full-size theaters, all capped underneath a glass roof. It's really amazing, you know, and they have rock concerts and opera there. You can pretty much see anything there. It's
Crazy.
pretty, you know, I read recently that Denver is being considered the best city in the country. Right? Think about it. Think about
I
we're
hate
the
it.
we're the thinnest
hate driving
city
through
and
it.
the thinnest state. We've got
Somebody wants to know how you made it. How'd you come up with the honey hole?
Well, you know, I had ordered some joints, and we were just sitting around the shop, and I tried to do it with propane oxygen first, and I wasn't able to bend them the way I wanted to. So we took 2 of them, and we put them together, and I blew it into a bubble, and then we sawed it in half. And we had this idea of plunging it up into it, and basically it was like a real shallow, small cup, very, very shallow, small cup, very, very short press. Like, it was all done without hydrogen, that what I use now, and stuff like that. It was really rudimental, like, trying. I mean, we tried first, like, just a straight flare, and, like, it was trial and error, pretty much. And, a couple buddies were around, and we were tossing ideas back and forth, and that's what we came up with. And that shallow cup worked for, a couple of days. And,
it's that backboard that I love, man.
Yeah, eventually we ordered some bigger tubing and got that in. And, that was half the problem, like ordering tubing sizes and the size to fit inside, like this part right down in here, the tube. That was hard, and they change those joints all the time now. Like, it's an ongoing battle. It's one of those things where, like, it's always going to change a little bit. I'm going to have to change a little bit, and that's the thing. I did it. There's no one else. It's only me. It's one person. So, like, when it comes to it, it's really just me. If we start having problems, I start having to change it, and we just work with it. And, sometimes people don't get all that happy. I'm not a huge company,
Joel, just send it back to your research and development department and let them deal with it.
Well, that's the thing. It does go back to me, and I'm like, all right, how do we solve this problem?
There you go.
And, like, the new ones are 3/4 of a millimeter smaller. To make it. It works on almost like 99% of the joints now. There's a few out there like China joints, like China black ones and China white ones. They're a little thicker. Handmade joints, those are tough.
Yeah,
like,
because there's no standard. So
and that's why you find on a lot of even my work pieces right at the end, we'll still stick a normal thing because you can put, a titanium nail in. You can put a honey hole in it.
This fits perfectly. Right,
yeah.
I will say that.
And that's the one that was always trouble, the 14, because the 14 changes so much in shaping.
You've got a new line of these coming out that you showed me where the where it's all a removable down stem, and it's all the quartz goes all the way down to
it's a quartz down stem with a quartz diffuser. Yeah, pull it out and you can just like dump your claim into a strainer if you want to save it and do the avocado pills or whatever everybody's doing there. A couple of my buddies say they take it, mix it with avocado, and then put it in a pill and swallow it.
I use my reclaim.
But some of those small rigs get really clogged up quick.
Yeah. And so you can just pull the honey hole out and just like you could save it too if you wanted. I don't know, whatever you want to do. Well, I just make more. I'm lazy.
How does this how is your work day? Because I know when we were there in the summer, you talked about like doing business during the day and then glass blowing evenings and late at night. When it's wintertime and especially when it's like sub-zero, are you out in the shop at 2 a.m. blowing glass?
No.
Sometimes midnight.
Sometimes.
Midnight.
It depends what's going on.
Sometimes we'll stay till 1 a.m.
Right now, like when I go back, I got a honey hole hustle I got to do, and it's like some 300-400 pieces, like a lot of honey holes. So I got a lot of time on the lathe and with some honey hole.
So it's not unbearable to be doing it at noon, right? So you
like sometimes I kind of have a bad failure rate. Just in like the last week, we ran out of oxygen kind of at the end of the week, and we hadn't done that in 6 years of the shop. So
the cold temperatures might have something to do with that.
Yeah, I just got lazy on trying to do it, and that's the thing. I just got to make sure I get back on my schedule and do my things, and that's get oxygen, get propane, do the bills. Do that kind of things. I've got one new thing is I got a guy that's doing the sandblasting now, so that makes it easier because that was hours and hours of my time when I first started doing it, and now it's gotten even worse. So like, he makes good money sandblasting, so he can't complain, and he's gonna get some benefits of getting to learn how to blow glass and stuff like that.
Right on. I love the sandblasting.
Is working like with you guys collabing and working in a shop, is that fairly rare, or is it seems like your shop, you could be going, there should be somebody blowing glass 24/7, right? Or is it kind of it's your personal shop, or you're not going to you can't just hire people and let them blow glass for you? It's your brand. Like to be able to let someone in and work with them is kind of a difficult thing.
I've always thought most of the companies I ever worked for before I did glass was promote within. So like, someone in there is intelligent enough to do stuff, and that's what we're trying to do. It's just I've got a lot of stuff to do, and like getting hoods and changing gas lines takes a whole day off and stuff like that. And so sometimes I was behind. I was behind when we went to Champs just recently here, and now I'm even behind again. I haven't even quite got to those Champs orders yet, but it's just work, and that's what the 300-400 honey holes are gonna clear out. A lot of these stores that just order them for Champs. There's a lot of people on like Instagram and stuff that doesn't have it in my shop and local head shop. I was like, hey, like contact your local head shop, have them give me a call or email us at this and get them on the list, and let's see if we can get them. Because I'd rather this is how the community works and runs. Like, I blow glass, I sell it to a head shop, they sell it to the customer. It's not all about I sell it right to the customer. I can't do that all the time. That's just way too much work, to be selling to all the customers as well as trying to.
That's
do
why
these
people
numbers.
like me exist, you guys.
Right.
And then if you have a problem, you have someone who you can talk
get back to you
about
right
that.
away, and then they understand the problem, and they can come to me, and then I know how to fix the problem quickly, and the problem can get fixed. And that's just how it's always worked. And like the community with the internet's changed a little bit, makes it where you're capable to get to the artist. I can do that if there's like a serious issue, but like most of the time we try to just do, where do you live? Yeah, the cave in San Francisco has been getting lots of people to ask me, where do they look? Well, my buddy had one they just didn't realize that their buddy bought it right at the cave. Oh, I'm right there. Holy shit. And then they get back, I got 2. Thanks, man. And that's what it's all about. Because it moves on from everybody. It's like the dispensary game. The grower grows. It's not like the grower is going to go sell it to the million patients out there. He can't do that.
Yeah, no, there's a system in
Right.
it. You pay, it's worth to, it's just like any other business.
Keeps it-
Like,
keeps
you are
it
doing what
all
you're good
working
at.
reasonably well.
Yep.
Yeah, Citizen J can do what he's good at.
Right, because I suck
boom.
at sales. I'm terrible at that shit. Like I'm meant to sit in front of that torch and blow glass and do my thing and have fun when I do art with Elliot. And then I am a workhorse. I am a production workhorse. Like if you put me in front of that shit, I will just crush it. And then
That's probably how you got to where you're at now. So
Right.
you're gonna stick to how
Yeah.
you got here.
And then I love doing the artwork thing. And that's just not, like we do the artwork when we can sell it and we have good time to do it. And I love doing that every time. It's a new step and a new challenge every time. They're different. Production and clear is always the same.
Nice. Awesome. This has been a good show.
It has
I
been.
appreciate these two guys
fun.
coming on and talking with us. I think glassblowing is just such a cool, I don't know. It's always one of those things where a career, you're thinking things have been a little differently. It'd been an awesome thing to be doing. I don't know, like that. Creating peace after, I would like that every day.
I can say I got lucky, I think. Like in Omaha, Nebraska, a shop that has a glass blowing studio in the back. There's still, to this day, only one. Illusions has their original store out there, and they still crush it out there. It's just not the market for, like, the Illusions that's out here. The Illusions out here is a museum. It
really is
basically,
an art gallery. It's beautiful.
It is a place where you can go and you can see almost every piece of glass from people in the large industry.
see
and
what's possible.
Yeah, and
Right,
what
from all
things that'll
across the
just
country
blow your
too.
mind.
I mean, they're from East Coast, West Coast, all over, even
Yeah.
from Europe.
It's a staple, and that's good. And then like there are other ones in other states, and it's the same idea, like the galleries Goosefire and what is that, Peace of Mind, and there's lots of other galleries, and those are all guys that are up for awards. Actually, Elliot's up for an award here at our trade show for glassblowers. Yeah.
Right on, man.
So he's an up and coming artist and nominee. So that'll be
Good
cool.
luck on that.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I appreciate it.
All right, you guys. Thanks again for coming in. Thanks everybody for tuning in and for your questions.
Yeah,
and
thanks
call.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. Appreciate you guys
Great to
coming
meet
on.
you, Boss.
Yeah, great to meet you.
Thanks, Jay, for being on the show.
Of course, Mark. Thanks for the
For
ride.
helping. Yes! Finally had a car after over a year of biking. I finally own a car. It is awesome. I'll talk about it sometime on a video for sure. But thanks you guys for coming on. Thanks, Chris, for helping out. Good show. Stay tuned. We'll be on next week. We'll see you guys soon.
Keep on talking.
Later, guys.
Peace out.